Hello, it is 1 p.m. in Athens. It's 6 a.m. in Ottawa. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain, Verjee. You're watching World One live from London.
Lunchtime in the Greek Parliament right now, where lawmakers are discussing in detail how to tackle the massive debt crisis. On Wednesday, the framework of the government's 5-year austerity package was passed by a majority in Parliament. The plan means tax increases, job losses, and privatizations. And now a second vote is just an hour away on the detailed proposals of where the axe will fall. Greece is under strict orders from the European Union to slash its debts. The EU says unless it sees some action, it will cut off essential bailout funds. But the belt-tightening measures are hurting. Trade unions have gone on strike, and thousands of ordinary Greeks have been on the streets protesting against the cuts. Well, let's go straight now to Central Athens and CNN's Diana Magna. And Diana, I'm wondering if there is a sense that it's a fait accompli now, and that the people in Athens and Greece as a whole have to come to terms with these very painful measures.
I think, yes. There is a second part of that austerity bill which is being debated at the moment in the Parliament.
The interesting thing, Diana, as we look at these live pictures of Parliament and the people outside protesting, I'm wondering if there's going to be, because at the end of the day, at the very heart of this, it's been the way the Greeks have been dealing with their economy, and actually so many mistakes that have been made with how they handle the money. Is there going to be a sense that that's actually going to change even with the bailout?
Yeah, will they actually manage to push through the structural reforms that are needed? Will they manage to prevent or stop this culture of tax evasion?
What newspapers around the world are saying about the upheavals in Europe. From Canada, the National Post runs an op-ed with a headline, Greece, Euro still face their real tests. It says the provision of periodic bailouts may prove to be yet another government failure because they work only when the recipient is economically viable but short on liquidity, not when it is insolvent, as the Greek state and its financial sector are. Referring to austerity strikes in Britain, the London-based independent newspaper's headline is Public Sector Pensions Spot the Odd One Out, saying politicians need to share the pain over pension reforms. The paper adds, even after the change, MPs' pensions will be among the most generous in the country and better than those available to civil servants. And finally, the Irish Independent has this headline, politicians must get voters back on side if crisis to end. The opinion piece says the crisis is not going to be sorted out until there is some reconnect between what governments are trying to do with bailouts and enforced austerity measures and what their voters feel is fair. After a bomb killed Rafiq Hariri, a Lebanese official says a United Nations tribunal has issued indictments over his assassination. The former prime minister of Lebanon was killed along with 21 others when an explosion ripped through his motorcade in 2005. RIMA MAKTABI has been following the story. She joins us now from CNN Abu Dhabi. RIMA.
Monita, this is just the beginning. The indictment issued today, according to a UN source we just spoke to, is only one of 3 expected in the coming days and probably months.
If it is indeed Hezbollah, as many do suspect that there are the names that are being indicted, Hezbollah is a political, it's a very powerful political and military force within Lebanon. What is this going to do then to the political structure within the country?
Definitely, Monita, as if this minute Lebanon has gone into a different phase.
Here's some of the other stories that we're talking about on World One. Why did the turtles cross the runway? Got the answer to that? Well, to get to their ideal mating ground. It's not a trick question. There is a reason why we're asking that. That happens to be across runway 4 at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. More than 150 turtles scrambled across the active airstrip. Officials had to call in the Department of Agriculture to move them to a better nesting spot. I think they're so cute. Poor little guys. Restaurant chain McDonald's is one of the biggest losers in a fast food popularity report. It was among the lower ranked fast food brands in a survey by Consumer Reports, along with Burger King, KFC, and Taco Bell. There goes my dinner. Respondents in the U.S. said the food was uninspiring and service was average. And our other story that we're talking about here, we know weddings can be expensive, but a survey has revealed how hard the big day hits the wallet, even if you're not the one getting hitched. WeddingChannel.com found it costs about $1,700. That's $1,700 to be a bridesmaid in America. The highest bridesmaid expenses include travel to the wedding and then the hen party, which can cost around $300. Zain.
Ouch. You're watching World One live from London.
Greek lawmakers are preparing to hold a second and final vote on how to implement a tough 5-year austerity package. On Wednesday, a parliamentary majority backed the framework of a plan for deep spending cuts and tax hikes, but they still need to agree on the details. Voting is expected to begin in about 30 minutes.
There is so much anger about cuts in a number of European countries right now. Let's start here with the UK. What could be its biggest strike in 85 years has already begun. Around 750,000 public employees are expected to stay off work today. They're protesting against plans to cut their pensions. Now, Spain has seen some pretty repeated strikes over recent months. Workers there are trying to resist spending cuts as well as tax increases. Let's go to Germany now. Now, Germany is getting a lot of criticism, and it's getting louder of how Angela Merkel's government is handling Europe's crisis. The EU's biggest economy is bearing a major share of the cost of helping its neighbors, and they're pointing the finger at Angela Merkel.
Let's take a look at our sports update now, and our man Don Riddell's here. And Don, I know we're going to talk about women's semi-final because that's very important, but can I just say for the record, I'm really bummed. Roger Federer.
Because Roger Federer's out.
I know.
And it was incredible, wasn't it? He was
Yes.
2 sets up against Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. He's never lost a 2-set lead in a major, and there he went.
Much respect to Mr. Tsonga himself.
Yeah, good win.
He played a really good game, but I'm still bummed.
No one saw it coming, all right. You can sulk in silence while I do the sports update. Thanks very much.
Great champion.
Very popular man, Rory McIlroy.
Also very popular coming up, the wedding this weekend, another royal wedding, and you actually met the groom-to-be.
Prince Albert in Monaco, yeah. As you know, I was there covering the Grand Prix a few weeks ago, and of course the Grand Prix in Monaco is usually the biggest event of the year in Monaco, but not this year. Of course, they've spent tens of millions on the wedding preparations, tens of thousands of people are coming into the Principality, a lot of celebrity guests. Is the wedding on, though?
Well, I think that's a big question. That's what we want to find out. So we'll, have there's the rumor of a secretive groom and a runaway bride. That's what we're talking about. Monaco's royal wedding is being overshadowed by this shocking press report. We'll have some analysis on that straight ahead. Zain, a prince, an Olympic star, and a story that's straight out of a Hollywood script. Monaco's royal palace has formally denied claims that Prince Albert's bride-to-be tried to run away after learning some of her future husband's secrets, alleged secrets. A French news magazine reported that Charlene Wittstock was stopped at the airport while attempting to flee to her native South Africa. The former Olympic swimmer was said to have discovered that her fiancé's private life was, quote, not as exemplary as she imagined. The royal couple are due to be married in a 2-day ceremony that begins tomorrow. Well, joining us now is Richard Fitzwilliams, a royal commentator and former editor of the International Who's Who. Richard, thank you very much for being with us. What have you heard?
Well, firstly, I would say that absolutely nothing about Prince Albert's private life.
Celebrity Who's Who. Well,
and
we'll
a
see
most
what
extraordinary business.
Right. Absolutely. Richard, thank you very much for that.
Tropical storm Arlene is expected to make landfall in Mexico this morning. Let's go to our meteorologist, Jen Delgado. Jen?
Hi, Zain. You're right. Tropical storm Arlene is actually making landfall as we speak. It has been so.
Jen, thank you so much for that.
You're watching World One live from London. I'm Zain Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. Thanks for joining us. We want to give you a look at these amazing pictures from NASA, Zain. Did you have something to do with this?
I always have something to do with these NASA pictures, but Vicky Bennett, our producer, did this all by herself, and we thank her for it. Isn't this amazing? The images captured in March by the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Some of the images from the spacecraft show never-before details of the sunspots. Just look at that. This is World One, here on CNN on Earth.